Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations. This event is proudly supported by Arise TV Network, Afia TV, Radio Now, Urban Radio, Zikoko Citizen, Njenje Media TV, and Enugu Literary Society. Media and Cabal Entertainment, in conjunction with Coast City Elites, presents the candidates Governorship TownHall Enugu. Date Saturday the 14th of January 2023. Time 7 p.m. The candidates will be transmitted live on Arise TV, on YouTube, on Afia TV, and on all partner radio stations.
printout, please? Ifine, where's the printout? Yes. Can somebody bring the printout? Let me go with it. We've wasted too much time. Come on. Yes.
Igbo kwenu. Igbo kwenu. Igbo kwenu. Kwenu. Enugu kwenu. Good evening, wherever you are watching us. We are coming to you live from the coast city, Enugu, home of the continental famous Rangers International. This is the candidates. My name is Chika Ago. This evening, we will get into a conversation with some candidates who are running for office of the governor of Enugu State. On stage tonight, they will tell us why the electorate should vote them into office. But beyond what they have to tell us, you must also engage with them. Ask questions about how they want to achieve what they say they hope to achieve if they get voted into office. The Candidates is a production of Diary Media, supported by Coast City Elite Forum and Enugu Literary Society. We also want to thank our partners, Afia TV, Arise Television, where you are also watching this program on at the moment. We also want to thank our radio broadcast partners as well, Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, Urban Radio Enugu, Energy FM Enugu. The program will go like this. Each candidate will have some time to come on stage with me and have a brief conversation about what they want to do. And then we will open up access to you so that you can send in your questions and ask them about the things that are very important to you. This is the Candidates live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Okay, can somebody get my guest? Can somebody get my first guest? Ray Kennedy. Who is bringing the mic? Can somebody please get my Yes. The man with the red cap, please. Let him come. My guest has to be here first. Please. Who is calling my guest?
is calling my guest, please? Please now, who is calling this person now? Good evening, and thanks for joining us this evening. My guest today here with me is Mr. Ray Kenneth Obodo. He's a strategy and management consultant based in London. Mr. Obodo seeks to change the narrative of Enugu as a civil servant state by creating competitive tourism, enhancing manufacturing, and improving agriculture. He is the candidate of the African Action Congress. Good evening, and thanks for joining us this evening, Mr. Kenneth. So, Mr. Kenneth, I want to start by asking you why you are running for governor. Can you hear Mr. Kenneth? Can you hear him? We're unable to, we can't hear you now, but we'll try and have that fixed shortly. Just so you know, that you can join the conversation by using hashtag the candidate NG. That's the hashtag on Twitter. If you have any questions, please use the number that use the contact address that will show on the Twitter and Facebook and WhatsApp as well. Will be available for you to join us on the program if you have any questions.
So, Mr. Kenneth, I'm going to start by asking you again, why do you want to be governor?
Thank you so much. I want to be governor of Enugu State, mainly because the people that we have charged with the responsibility of looking after us, looking after the people, the poor masses, are messing the people up, causing poverty. People are suffering and languishing in abject poverty of the pocket, the mind, body, and the soul. They are not doing what they are supposed to do. Politics is about serving the people. Politics is about helping. Politics is about using the state resources to serve the people, not for few individuals' pockets. So why I'm coming into politics is to be able to help the many people that have been left behind, because they are voiceless. We will need to speak to them. You know, so people are just maybe a few people, a few cronies has hijacked the affairs of the state. We need to be able to take it out of their hands and be a good custodian for the people, so that we can be able to cure the menace of insecurity, poverty, and lift our people from abject poverty.
All right, so you've highlighted a couple of issues, right? And I want us to break it down one after the other. But before we do that, you are a strategy and management consultant, and you've spent some time in the private sector. So what exactly is it about public service that's appealing to you?
The major thing about the public sector that is appealing to me is that private wealth can only help but a few, but public wealth will help almost everybody. So it's not about the resources, but the resourcefulness and the willingness to serve the people, to help the people. Sometimes they tell you the money is not there, this one is not there. There is money, but a few people are cornering the money while the pharmacists are dying and languishing. There is poor health care. So we need to sort these things out. And that is why, as we continue to talk, I can tell you about our agenda, which is tagged HASHOPES, which is healthcare, opportunity, prosperity, education, and security for all.
So let's then break down your agenda one after the other, right? With respect to security, because that is something that is suffering here in Enugu. What are your thoughts on the current state of security in the States? And where do you begin?
I think the current state of security in the state is quite very disheartening and it's concerning. Though when you are moving around Enugu, sometimes people tend to get along with their business and you think nothing is happening. But there is a lot of things that is happening behind that is not reported. People live in fear day and night. And we need to sort those things. And why this is getting more and getting worse is because what's supposed to be meant for the people need to be paid well. People need to be looked after in terms of good health care. People are impoverishing people. And now people who are living in hopelessness have no other way than to try to take things by force because the life they are already living has no meaning to them. Because they have no meaning in life. So they go to the battle. If they die, they die. If they come back, they come back. So if we're able to sort out the mess in terms of providing what people are supposed to have, which is this health care, making sure that if you are sick, you go to the hospital and you can go for checkup without even being sick. And they be able to create opportunities for the young ones, for even the adults, because there are a lot of people who are unemployed and people who are underemployed.
Yeah, so I want us to stay on security now, right? I want us to stay on security now. What's your knowledge, right, is the greatest risk factor for, the breakout of a disrespectful law and order? What in your mind is the greatest security risk that the people of Enugu face today? And how do you want to fix that?
The greatest risk of security that people face in Enugu, risk of kidnapping, risk of car snatching. The other time, the OP Nsuka Road was a no-go area. People were basically being kidnapped every day in the broad daylight. It only maybe when the former secretary to the state government was kidnapped, the state government kind of wake up a little bit. But the ordinary citizens were being kidnapped and people are being paid ransom and those kind of things is not happening. The issue of what is happening in Hamufu is an open to everyone, and it seems not to be going our way. And they're going to be thinking about what these things happen. People go to their villages. I grew up in a remote village. We don't know about any security. Now I can go to my village and sleep overnight without maybe security here and there. It wasn't used to be that way. So we have to be able to use good security institutions, show the willingness that we actually want to tackle the menace.
And the current governor is doing that, right? They introduced forest guards to address the issue of, kidnapping, especially in the hinterlands, right? Are you going to keep that on? Are you going to introduce a different security architecture? What are your plans?
It's not just about introducing those things here and there, but it's about empowering them and showing leadership. The current governor might have introduced those things, but he is not showing the leadership required in terms of maybe tackling those things. When you're a chief executive, you need to take charge and you need to be in the forefront to be able to do it. If it is happening in South, you need to be there. If it's happening in East, you need to be there. You need to be tackling it. You need to be communicating to the people. You need to be telling people what is happening, giving them briefing, and showing sympathy and be able to help. Because the issue is that when you set up, whether it is forest guards or a bag or whatever, you need to be organizing meetings, giving these people training and giving them empowerment. Make sure they are paid well, because otherwise some of them will be conniving with those.
Do you know how much one of them is paid?
Do I know how much?
One of the forest guards is paid.
Yeah, I have heard stories that some of them get paid 30,000, some of them get paid 50,000. It's not the same amount of money that they get paid, and people don't even know when the money is coming. They get paid randomly, depending on what you bargain and depending on who employed you.
So, in your mind, if the governor isn't doing the best with them, how do you hope to improve on that? What are your strategies?
The best thing is to show the leadership from onset, to be on the forefront and they bring people who actually understand security architecture in terms of maybe the intelligence, to be able to capture it, to be able to do it before you actually start, to be able to empower people and show people that there is hope. Because as people continue to live without hope, the security and the menace of those things is going to continue to go up. Because we have a situation where in Enugu State, basically they are sharing money with their cronies and their few people. And you don't expect someone who sees someone who doesn't have a car, who doesn't have a house, because the person becomes a local government chairman or whatever. The person is building a duplex here and there, where they're getting those money. You don't expect people buying lands and buying land. We need to distribute this wealth. Instead of sharing it among few, we need to be able to help people in the localities, in the villages, in the hinterland. We need to maybe set out a strategy, use the people who are councillors to identify people who are suffering in their local thing and be able to do things. The government is not doing enough. And this is why we are quite maybe we say, let's come and see. We offer ourselves to the people as the better option, which is our
I hear you when you say that, right? Because I think everybody here knows the problem, right? We all know the problem. What we don't quite know is how you are going to do it differently. So when you say you want to show leadership, right? What is that leadership like in real terms?
The leadership in real terms is that as a leader, as a good leader, you need to be visible. You need to be able to relate with the people, not only when they are doing parties, when they are doing ceremony or somebody dies. That is not when you need to be seen as a leader.
I'm talking about leadership in the context of
that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Because once you are visible and people know that you are relatable and you are like them, you are not telling them that you are better than them because you are a governor or you are this thing doesn't mean that you are better than anyone else. It's just an opportunity and privilege for you to serve the people. And you are like a manager, and if you are not good, they should throw you out. But we live in a kind of a control that actually maybe people, the electorate, are handicapped. They can't really do anything because it is a fixed system and a selecting system. But in order to do these things, because it's about the people of Enugu State, for them to decide whether what they have had for the past 23 years or even 30-something years, because this thing started even when there was in 1992. Some people who are contesting this election have been in governance in one way or the other since 1992 or before that. They are recycled politicians, everyday politicians, out-of-touch politicians, and they have nothing to offer to our people. And if our people decide to go to them, they're going to still get the same thing. Because you see, like maybe the PDP in this Enugu State, they constituted about whether it is 2,000 campaign councils and everywhere. They are the people that are going to be sharing those money, continue to share those money. So if people wake up as you are here, you go and talk to your parents, your friends, your relatives, and whatever, that enough is enough, and we can show these guys out of the door. Otherwise, we continue to do.
Okay, so let's move away from security quickly and talk about one other issue that you raised. And I was reading about you, and some of the things that I saw you say you want to do, came up as very interesting to me. So you're proposing that health care be free for the elderly. And then I looked at Enugu's budgets. The one that was just passed is about 167 billion naira. And you look at your current debt profile, right? And you wonder how you're going to service your debts and still pay for that. But first, I want to get your thoughts on why you think that providing free health care is important.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Actually, I correct an impression. The free health care is not just for the elderly, it's for everyone. Everyone who lives in the States, whether you are born, whether you're a citizen, no, it's for everyone, free health care. This is a situation we set up a system that if you are sick, you are able to go to hospital and be able to see a doctor and be able to get some diagnosis. Not only when you are sick, but you can also go for checkups. The money is there to do it. And if the money is not there, we can organize a fund for healthcare system. There is a lot of billionaires in Enugu that can contribute to the health scheme to be able to help. There is a lot of people that we can reach out. So it is the willingness to do it, not the resources.
Your plan for public health care is based on philanthropy of billionaires.
No, you can't base it. It's not based on philanthropy. I'm telling you that you can raise money. There is money that is already there that can be utilized. It's just that it is channeled wrongly. And now, in order maybe to put more to that pulse, you get what I mean? There is a lot of people who are already contributing to the societies and to other non-governmental organizations. And if government needs help, they are quite willing to help, but you need to ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. Because you cannot leave our people in villages and whatever. People are begging money every now and then.
Do you think that billionaires or even people with private wealth, right, is the answer to this problem of funding for healthcare? And I ask that because more often than not, these people also have their own agenda. So are you going to be submitting the independence of the people of Enugu State at the altar of a few because we're getting a couple millions from them?
I think you are missing a point. We don't base it and we don't put it to the hands of a few people. We're telling you, people like to be recognized and people like to be appreciated. So when people are stakeholders and custodians to their states, they want to contribute and they want to help. And when they are recognized in one way or the other, in National, sometimes they say they are giving order of the Niger, they are giving this. And what are those people they are giving those things actually doing? Now we can get people to actually key in terms of uplifting the humanity. Then you can actually recognize them as people who are important personalities in the state, not just maybe people who are not doing anything. And I'll tell you, it's not just that money. There is already money, just misappropriation and misallocation
when you
of
say
the money.
There is already money, I'm wondering where you are seeing this money. Because the state government has a budget of 167 billion naira for 2023.
Yeah.
And you look at you look at the federal allocation that you receive from the government, it has been dwindling since 2020, no thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
So when you say there is money, and then I don't know if you're very familiar with your IGR, but it is still not where it should be when compared to other states around the country. So when you say there is money, where exactly do you see this money? I want you to be very specific about the areas where these monies are.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. If you are trying to put up argument there is no money, you go and ask the state.
No, I am not. I'm just asking you where you see the money because I'm quoting the numbers that I see.
Let me tell you why there is money. It just depends on if you are an executive where you want to channel the money and where it benefits you or what you think is important for you. Because if you say there is no money, you go and ask the governor, where did you get money to build flyover? Go and ask the governor, where did you get money to build a new school in Nsukka? We already have schools and they are underfunded. Yes, those schools are good, but where are you getting the money from? And they're going to tell you there is no money. It just depends on maybe what is priority, what a governor or what an executive set out to do. The federal allocation and the internally generated review, and if maybe they are doubled as well, is enough, to go around. There is more than enough, in this world, in this Enugu State to go around to uplift the people. It's just channeling the money and make sure that you cut all those wastages and cut all those maybe people who are stealing and siphoning our money. Right. Once you cut out those things, you see that there is abundance of money. It is just quite very clear.
Okay. What then is your plan for raising the revenue generated here in Enugu State?
Yeah, some of our plan in raising the revenue of Enugu State is about revamping some industry that is decaying. We used to have vegetable oil in Oji River, in Nach. We need to invest in agriculture. We had a town hall meeting of our party today, and somebody asked me a question. How is it that we have Ministry of Agriculture, they get paid and they get paid, but there is nothing they are actually producing? What are they actually doing? Now you have Ministry of Agriculture with workers everywhere there, but they are not being empowered to be able to produce things for the state. So what are they actually doing? Now, if we invest in agriculture to be able to help people, then we can also maybe increase on tourism because Enugu is quite a nice environment. People like to come to Enugu, and with good security, there's quite a lot of money coming. Yesterday was Friday, today is Friday. There is a lot of people coming weekend. You meet people, they tell you they are coming from Port Harcourt, they are coming from Abuja, they are coming from those places. And then we can make this place a destination for holidays in terms of tourism to be able to grow this economy. So that actually a lot of things can be happening in this southeast, in this Enugu.
If there are questions in the hall, we will take them now. If you have questions for Mr. Ray Kene, he's the governorship candidate of the AAC. We will take them now. We need some microphone. We need a microphone here in front, please. Please remember to keep your question very brief. Let us know your name. Keep your question very brief and go straight to the point, because if you take more time, then it means he's got less time to answer, and that means we can't get more questions from the audience. Everyone has equal stake here, so as quickly as possible, let's get straight to all the questions that you have. We'll start from here. There's an elderly man here in front who needs a mic, so we'll get that one to you in a moment. And so just before he gets the mic handed down to him, what do you think the people of Enugu State will remember your administration for if you eventually make it into office? How are you thinking of what your legacy here will be?
My major legacy will be in terms of uplifting people from abject poverty, so that people can have a hopeful life, live hopefully, not hopelessly. Because our people, like I said, are living in abject poverty of the mind, the pocket, and the soul. So we need to show them inspiration, and we need to show them there is hope, and we need to do that.
All right. So fast. There's a microphone here in front, sir. Please, let's meet you. You're going to please tell us your name, and you would be as brief as possible about the question that you have to ask. Whichever is fine. Your mic is not turned on, please. Please carry on. We can't hear him. Can we get help with the microphone, please? Can we get any assistance with the microphone?
Hello.
Okay, I think it's on now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I say I am Professor, University Professor and Chief Consultant in surgery. So let me be brief. You said so many things, but you didn't say anything about corruption. Corruption is like a cancer in our society. And I don't know, it is coupled with transparency. Let me go direct to you. Will you let us know publicly what to earn every month and what to spend? Whether your wife will be the first lady, what she earns and what she spends, your commissioners, and generally the expenditure of the government, so that we can start there to save money. Secondly, Enugu State is in a very the poorest state in Nigeria. Agriculture can't give us anything. Tourism can't give us anything. It can fail at any time. We want hard production. Technical products like autos, computer parts, and the rest of them. Things all like right. that. Things that will earn us hard currency, things that can export.
All right.
If we export only agriculture, they can say they don't want.
Okay, let's take that question first. He's asking about transparency. Will you be clear and open about what you earn and what you spend?
Thank you, Professor, Doctor. He's a double professor and double doctor. It's a very good question. To go straight to the point, transparency will be our watchword. In our town hall meeting earlier in the day at Old Villa Suits, I did mention that the government that we're going to run, if you people here give me the mandate, is a government that will base on transparency. And we are coming into the government with less overhead, because we don't have all those godfathers, we don't have all those people who has been wasting the money. We are not the part of the people who are being blackmailed that they bought their ticket with 6 billion or 16 billion or 20 billion. So we don't have too much overhead. and then we don't have people to answer to apart from people who voted us in.
So will you be?
You know?
I
so
want
what
you
we're
to
gonna
be
do
very
is
brief.
that we're gonna be able to publish where we are spending the money, how much healthcare is getting, how much Ministry of Transport is getting, how much this one is getting, how this money is spent. Because how much education is getting, the police, the civil defense, whoever that is getting what, how this money is spent. That is what I actually said in the afternoon, and I'm repeating it again. And it's very important that people know how their money is spent and how the money is generated.
Right.
So we're going to be transparent.
Okay, do we have any other question in the hall? There is a gentleman here in front, please. And then there's another gentleman. Yes, let's hear from him, please. Can you please turn on your microphone?
Hello?
All right, we can hear you. Please let us know your name and be brief about your question.
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Daniel Okwo. I run a leadership foundation called Daniel Okwo Leadership Foundation. Yeah, my question goes that I don't know whether you live in Enugu. If I actually live in Enugu, there's something I was expecting you to say first, and that's issue of water. Because throughout Christmas, you find out that 20% of Enugu environment doesn't have water. So that's why when you talk about water, it's like a non-issue. But you find out that water is one of the most important things about a city. And a place like Enugu that has been old eastern region, not even a new created state. And then we are talking about water. The only way you can have water in Enugu is about GRA, maybe New Haven, very few places. So I don't know whether you see it as a problem in Enugu State. Because for me, life without water, I don't know what else. And students are suffering, everybody is suffering. So I don't know whether you see water as an issue in Enugu State.
All right.
And then secondly.
No, sir, we can only take one question, please. One question at a time. Thank you. All right, so about the water situation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for raising that. You know, I wasn't given the opportunity to say everything that we have in mind or we have in our manifesto. Actually, water supply is our number one in our manifesto. And that is one of the things we discussed this afternoon earlier and how we're going to do that. So we have 5 major points, which is our agenda, but we distill it into 12. So water is actually number one. And because water is an issue in this Enugu State, it's not about the resources, that there is no water or we can't find water or we can't distribute it. It's about the resourcefulness and the willingness to actually do it. So the resources to do it is there, but we need to be more resourceful in terms of making sure that we give the people water. I live in a place, because you asked, you don't know whether I live here. I grew up partly in a remote village where there is no electricity, no pipe-borne water. I used to carry a bucket of water and the jerry can on my head in Obinago, Abugo. So my life, I'm 43 years old. I've lived there first part of my life in a rural area. I lived the second part of life in an urban city in Enugu, went to UNEC and they did business in Enugu. I actually live in United Kingdom as well, where is a very good environment. So I have experienced it all. The bad one, the middle one, and the top one. But like I said in the afternoon, you know, in as much as it's an advanced country, they don't have everything all. But it's actually a good thing, and our Enugu people are happy people, and we need to maybe help our people because our people are suffering to be able to give water. Because if you go to work, you come back, you don't have water to drink, you don't have water to have shower or bath. That is quite maybe
what I want to
punishment.
ask you, what I want to ask you first is, do you understand the root cause of the absence of water, or in some places, poor supply of water in the Enugu State?
Yes, I do understand it, because it's about what is happening about this water is that some people tell you that they can't find water. But there are people who are working against it.
Who are the people working against it?
There are a few cabals who are benefiting, whether you call them, who are messing up the money that is put in there, because a lot of contract has been given. I was living in this Enugu when Sullivan came, and Sullivan awarded the contract of water supply in Enugu. and they did what they did and they end up maybe siphoning the money and they did not finish the project. So the issue is about abandoning project, not doing what they're supposed to do, using inadequate contractors to do those jobs, people who doesn't understand what needs to be done.
All right, so let's give it to the lady in front here, please. There's a lady in front with a question, right here.
After the lady, I'd like to talk to that man.
Okay, thank you. My name is Okechukwu Chideraju.
Can you speak up a little louder?
My name is Okechukwu Chideraju, the convener for Tech Foundation. Okay, my question is based on, we don't have enough employment opportunities for youth in Enugu. So with that, a lot of youth are going into technology now in Enugu. And like we have the Enugu Tech Hub, which the government have spent enough money, and I can't really see what they are doing there. They use desktop, like the old ones, and we don't know where the money is going into. So I want to ask, what's your view in expansion for technology in Enugu?
Thank you.
Technology, thank you so much. Technology is very important. Nobody can, because this is now a global village. And every one of us, most of us have smartphones. We communicate and the people make money in their phones and in their tablets. So technology is one of things in our manifesto. And in terms of maybe helping the young ones, forget about all those things they are telling you they are sending people here and there to go and learn technology. All those things are just a program that is meant to fail. The way we want to tackle it, we can put people into apprenticeship program where people go and they learn on the job and they will support their employers who already have those technology. Let's say you want to learn about maybe how to repair phones or how to do cars or whatever. We'll be able to support employers of labor in terms of maybe people going there to learn the job. We are Igbos, and there are a lot of people who become rich in they went to what we call apprenticeship. They call it Ewa boy and those kind of things. But in an advanced way, you don't do it that way, because some of those people who went to do this apprenticeship with some of their guys, they get messed up because they are not even settled. But we do it in such a way that government backs the employer up. We pay you money, and you'll be able to learn, and we'll be able to help you to develop your own technology. I'm a digitally person. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. We've been speaking with Mr. Ray Kene Ogbodo. He is the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. Thank you very much for spending time with us. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We need to bring another candidate on, but we have 2 more candidates to go, and they will get to answer your questions.
Can I take that man?
I'm sorry, you may not.
Sure.
Yes, we have to go now. But stay with us. This is my time with the candidates of the African Action Congress. We will be right back in just a moment. This is the candidate reaching you live from Enugu.
I'll talk to you outside, sir.
is Mr. Ago.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
So I want to start by asking you why it is essential to you that you are the governor of Enugu State.
Why?
Why it is important to you that you are the governor of Enugu State.
Okay. It is very important, and it will be very good for me to be the governor of Enugu State, because we want to right the wrongs. We want to set our people free from the bondage that have been engulfed for the past 20-something years. History will hold us responsible if we keep quiet and watch people bastardizing the state our founding fathers suffered for. A situation whereby retirees in Enugu State are dying in their numbers, no gratuity, pension not paid, teachers are suffering, teachers being the bedrock of every education. To pay teachers common minimum wage, which I even refer to as slave wage, the government cannot pay. And then even their leave grants and the entitlements. There's no water in Enugu. And before this government ascended to power, the water was everywhere in Enugu, including my own residence. But today, I buy water in Enugu. There is insecurity. So if I become the governor of Enugu State, it will bring joy to many homes, to the students. In Enugu State, students of tertiary institutions, they don't receive bursary. Even in my campaign jingle, I made it clear, it is necessary to reduce the hardship that the parents are facing. The physical challenge will also be glad because I'm their patron. 4 weeks ago, they gave me an award in Abuja because of my assistance to the physical challenge at the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja. So all these people that have been neglected, people living with disability. And you know, in People's Redemption Party, the physical challenge are also involved. We are sponsoring a candidate from Ogu, from Omako, Honorable Kalisi Obasi. So we want to run an inclusive government in Enugu State. Enugu State was not developed by Enugu indigenes alone. Good people of Anambra State, Imo, Abia, Ebonyi, and Yoma Delta, in fact, the whole eastern region, they contributed in the development of Enugu State. These people have to be involved in the affairs of the state. I want to run a government that they will be glad they are part of Enugu.
Okay. So, in your mind, as you've worked, you sort of have a clear understanding of what some of the problems are. Having worked in the civil service for years, why then do you think that coming back into service, but this time as a governor, is an avenue or gives you the opportunity to bring about the type of change that you want to see?
Yes, because when you look at those that have been governing Enugu State, they don't know the rudiment of administration. You will hear them say, former this, former that, or business people. They have never served. And that's why they are punishing the civil, they have destroyed the civil service structure in Enugu State because they don't have any orientation. So if I come now, we will now repair all those things that they have damaged. Apart from that, look at the industries left by Dr. Michael Emayopara, former Premier of Eastern Region. Go to Port Harcourt, you see Hotel Presidential. Build the same period with the Hotel Presidential here at Enugu. But I can tell you authoritatively today that if you want to kill big snake in Enugu, go to Hotel Presidential here. If you want to catch the biggest rat in Enugu, go to Hotel Presidential Enugu here. The government that ruled Enugu between 1990 to date destroyed the foundation laid by our founding fathers. But go to Port Harcourt. Hotel Presidential in Port Harcourt is functioning. Again, is it not from the palm produce that they built all those things in those days? Even
and you are convinced that the problem there is one of administration.
It is administration. They don't know it. When they see money, they feel it belongs to them, that it is for their family. And that's why retirees are suffering today in Enugu. Apart from where I'm coming from, who is my mentor, His Excellency Alhaji Barabe Musa. I served him, I was his SA on domestic affairs for 20 years. So the experience I got from him during my mentorship is also an advantage. And it's an eloquent testimony that I will combine the experience I gathered while in northern Nigeria, where I spent 30 years with the civil service. I was a former teacher. I taught history at Al-Huda Huda Senior Secondary School, Zaria, Tafa Belewa, Girls Secondary Kaduna, and the first private school in Kaduna, Labai International Secondary School. I headed their history department. So in business too, not only that I'm a civil servant, I'm versatile. I own the largest cleaning outfit in Kaduna. Anybody who lives in Kaduna knows Wazobia Associate. It's a company that I founded in 1985, waste management company. In fact, for your information, I prepared the waste management project for Abuja when architect Ibrahim Bunu was the minister. And that's why today they're still using my proposal. You see, Abuja is clean. I own a company that collects waste in Kaduna, which was established in 1985, Wazobia Associate. I own the largest piggery farm in Enugu. I'm a farmer. So I'm not only a teacher, a civil servant, no. And all this money, God bless me because they are genuine. I've never been in government. I've never stolen one kobo from Enugu State. And it will be a cause for anybody to come to power in Enugu State and start undoing our good people. It will be a cause.
So, and I hear you, and we hope that we get a leader who understands that public wealth is for public use. And in the light of that, I want to get your thoughts on just the IGR being generated here in Enugu State. As a business person, what are your thoughts on the amount of money that Enugu State is able to generate internally? And do you have any proposals for improving on what's been collected here?
Thank you. You see, the IGR generated in Enugu State, they don't declare all. They declare 20%.
Why do you say that?
I'm telling you what I know. They don't declare all. So the first thing I would do is to close all those avenues. These people have been raping the state. They declare only 20%. And that is the problem. So if we come to power, we're not going to put more burden on our people because we want to increase the DC. Our people are already suffering. They are suffering already. So what we are going to do is to close those avenues that the hawks and the vultures have been using in cutting away our IGR. The moment we close all those avenues and the money comes into the government, but we don't need to overlap our people again. No, they have enough burden.
When you say close the avenue, what do you mean? What exactly is your strategy for closing that avenue?
We change those. When I come to power, I will change those that are in charge of the revenue. We have chairman in Enugu here, chairman of the revenue collection and all these other things. We know what is happening at the main market, at the new market. All these people, they planted people. Look, even if you are 100 naira drop on the ground, these people will pick it. It is greed. It is greed. And the moment you're a greedy leader, you can never be satisfied. And again, I will not even venture in grabbing anybody's property or land. I will not try it. For your information, we are going to settle many cases out of court. If you go to Enugu High Court today, you see people in court with the government over their property. When economy is biting on people, government should not inflict injuries on the people again.
Okay. So at this point, I would like to take questions in the audience. I know there's a gentleman up in front, please, if you would walk here. Let's start with him. Raised up his hand earlier on. Please be sure to keep your questions brief. For those watching at home, you can join the conversation. Please use the handles on your screen to send in your questions to the candidate, and we would ask them here in the studio. Let's hear from you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor.
Thank you.
Aspirant, my name is Sir Kasmia Ugu, a retired permanent secretary in Enugu State. You were talking about your life, having lived severally at the northern part of the country, up to 35 years or more, and we are all in our last quarters. I don't know how much you know about Enugu State. Bearing that in mind, you are talking about enhancing the life and living of people in Enugu State. Vis-a-vis provision of goods and services. How much do you think Enugu State generates in a year? Because you were talking with so much affirmation that 20% is remitted and 80% is frittered away. How did you come about that information? Because I know there are several sources of revenue in the state, which amounts both taxation from civil servants and then income tax from the people, and then other services, earnings, and then rents.
Okay.
How do you hope to generate money to run your government, bearing in mind that you have so much, you know that about 80% is frittered away?
Let's leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My staying in northern Nigeria for 30 years does not mean that I'm not keeping abreast with what is happening in Enugu State. I'm the national leader of Enugu Youth Movement. I come to Enugu. I have up to ward level, our members, they report to me. We organize the first CCONO Memorial Lecture 3 times now. Even Dr. Simon Ongu, the first Igbo medical doctor, we organized a lecture. So I've been part of Enugu. And my background as an Enugu Nguo man in Enugu North, I know much about Enugu. I even have the documents of the deeds for the acquisition of Enugu land with British government, the 1915, 1917, and 1921 deeds with the British government. So I know Enugu very well, and as a historian who have written many books on Enugu, so I'm conversant with this place, and I speak my dialect very well, and I'm a true Wawa man. So I know Enugu very proper. Now, you see, we're not going to depend on this IGR. We're going to create wealth. We're going to create wealth. You see, like all this area, the bandits arrest our people, kidnap and enter bush. We are going to construct roads that will enter all those vast land. We are going to plant palm trees. Within 2 years, this is in my farm. Within 2 years, you start harvesting. A liter of palm oil is more expensive than a liter of fuel. So if we cultivate palm trees all over this area, let me tell you, we will checkmate security. We will ensure neighborhood watch people run what we call shift, and it will become a parastatal on its own, and they will be paid minimum wage. They will protect our property, protect those farms in the bush. You see, these people that kidnap our people are there in the forest, in the bush, because our people have abandoned those areas. So by the time we have an activity, something that will be giving us money, look, we have to told the part of the old people, agriculture. In palm oil, apart from the palm oil, you will get the palm kernel, you get chaff from there, you squeeze it, you get palm kernel oil. Then we'll now talk about re-establishing the Natch vegetable oil. The raw materials are available in Enugu State. Now, the chaff from that palm kernel will be used in feeding or manufacturing, because we are going to build a factory that manufactures fish feeds. So these are the areas we generate money. We will create wealth.
Mr.
We go
Chris,
into agriculture.
Mr. Agu, so I want to find out here, great as your plans are, right? You will need money to do that. So how do you hope to raise the funds or the bonds that pay for this infrastructure?
Thank you very much. One, any project I want to undertake must be a project that will create wealth, that will yield money, even if we go on loan or partnership with other companies or individuals. If we get loan to go into agriculture, like planting of those palm trees, let me tell you, within 3 years, such loan must be paid, because the palm nuts and all the things coming out from it will be more than enough to clear the problem we have in Enugu State. That's why we are the most seventh debt state in the country. We are owing in billions, because when they obtain loan, they don't invest it in anything that will yield money to pay back the loan. As a businessman, when I obtain loan to set up my farm, from the proceeds from that farm, I will pay the loan. And when we set up a palm produce board, Enugu Marketing Company will be revived. Things will start moving. Okay. And before you know it, we will clear any money we borrow from the bank. Another way is this. All those people that have stolen this money, do you think I'm going to leave them alone? Let me tell you, if you don't collect this money, then you are telling me to come and steal. That nothing happened to people that loot the economy.
We need to give room to.
So we are going to
we need to
catch
give room
them.
We need to give room to more questions. There's a lady here, please. So we'll go one man, one woman, one man, one woman, like that. So there's balance. Let's take one more.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nnenna Nozie. I'm a legal practitioner and the chairperson, League of Women Voters of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. I've listened to the first candidate and I've listened to you now. And none of you has ever mentioned women inclusiveness, women inclusion in your governance. I wouldn't know if your deputy is a woman, but you know that currently in Enugu State House of Assembly, we have 24 seats, and out of these 24 seats, we have just 4 women. And in the 17 local government area, there's no woman currently as the chairman. So I wouldn't know what your government will be like in ensuring that more women are included in your government.
All right, let's take that quickly.
Very easy.
We have 1 minute to take that.
Even
please.
In the PRP philosophy, as produced by late Chinua Achebe, one of the founders of PRP, there it is enshrined that it should be 50-50. And when Nawaj visited me last 3 months at my home, I told them that it's going to be 50-50. Presently, we have 6 women in Enugu State contesting various positions in PRP. So we are going to, it's going to be equal, 50-50, because women, they are very, very useful and resourceful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Enugu State forward.
Thank you very much. And that is our time with Mr. Chris Agu, who is the governorship candidate of the People's Redemption Party. Thank you very much for spending time with us this evening, and we wish you all the very best at the polls. Stay with us. We'll bring up another candidate in just a moment. You are watching the candidates reaching you live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Good evening. And thanks for staying with us. You're watching the candidates reaching you live from Enugu State, Nigeria. And let's meet our next guest. Frank Wike Jr. is a 58-year-old Nigerian politician who has served in different capacities as a public office holder. Between June 2005 and January 2007, he was Minister for Information and National Orientation. Between January and May 2007, he served as Minister for Information and Communication. He was also the Director General of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group between 2009 and 2014. Mr. Frank Nemeka Nweke Jr. is the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.
You've been Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 3 times. Why do you want to be governor now?
Well, first of all, I'd like to, I would have preferred to stand while addressing in the Enugu.
Well,
may I stand?
No, for broadcast purposes, it would be great to sit.
Right. Thank you so much. But first of all, I'd like to say what a great honor it is to have the opportunity to interact with the Enugu. To present myself for this job interview, because that's really what it is. I'm applying to be governor of Enugu State, and I'm honored that the people of Enugu State have assembled tonight to engage with me and allow me to discuss my manifesto and my agenda for government. I would also like to thank the organizers of this town hall series for their commitment to promoting democracy, for their commitment to really encouraging citizen, participation in the political process, and and then for their commitment to actually encouraging the culture of debate, political discourse, political debate. And I believe that if we continue to do this, hopefully, as citizens, we can take back our states. As citizens, we can take back our constituencies. And as citizens, we can take back our country. Right. So thank you so much. Now to your question, why do I want to be governor? And I'd like to say very, very seriously, very solemnly, that I am the beneficiary of what I describe as the best nurture a child could have. I'm also the beneficiary of the best education a child could get. I've also had the privilege of participating in the political arena at various levels. And during this period, I've gained significant experience. I've gained significant knowledge over a 20-year period. And so when you are a minister or when you're an appointee, it is different from being the chief executive of a state. But I'd like to say that in spite of the nurture that I've had, in spite of the education that I've had, in spite of the exposure that one has had, I am embarrassed. I am ashamed that Nigeria is what it is today. In spite of the presence of people like me, I'm ashamed that Enugu State is in the condition in which it is today. And these are the factors that really encourage me to say, you know what? Step forward. You are indebted to the people of Enugu. You are indebted to Nigeria. It is this debt I like to pay. It is my inability to continue to stomach the level of deterioration in governance. That is the reason why I have stepped forward.
And so what then is your value proposition to the people of the states? What do they stand to gain by having you steer the affairs of this state for the next 4 years?
Well, thank you so much, Chika. First of all, I believe that I'm bringing significant knowledge, significant experience. I'm bringing a culture of integrity. I'm bringing a culture of accountability to government. I'm also bringing a culture of openness and transparency to government. If we look at what is happening in our state today, very, very few people understand what is going on. When you look at our state's budget, it is so opaque. It's usually implemented in the breach rather than, full implementation. When you look at the conditions under which our people live today, the water crisis, the state of our road infrastructure, this level of insecurity, the condition of our pensioners, the condition of civil servants, even today, the fact that you have retirees who have to bribe their colleagues to pay their gratuities, it is unacceptable. The state of our young people, all of these things are unacceptable. And I believe that with one's knowledge, with one's exposure, and the level of preparedness that I've had over the last 20 years in public service, with my education and with my exposure, I believe that I am more than prepared to provide the leadership needed to transform our state at this time. I am going to be in charge of my government. I am going to lead from the front. Under no circumstance, no conditions will make me leave my state to go on a dancing trip around the state, around the country. I will lead from the front because that is what you've been elected to do. This is the mandate you have, to protect the people, to really encourage improvements in their livelihoods and the rest of them.
So what sectors of development in the states are priority for you?
Very clear. Now, I'm going to say something that will surprise you. I am very big on leadership. I'm so big on leadership because everything rises and falls on leadership. That is the right thing. No matter what plans you have for the youth sector, no matter what plans you have for the water sector, no matter what plans you have for the security sector, if you don't have the capacity, the leadership capacity, if you don't have the personal discipline, you can be sure that nothing is going to work. And so, leadership is key for me. Just providing leadership, principled, strong, disciplined, accountable leadership is key for me. The second thing I want to talk about is the issue of security of lives and property. A situation where our people are being massacred literally. This is not what Enugu is known for. A situation where our people cannot sleep with two eyes closed. There is no responsible government who should not pay attention to the matter of security. So that's number two. The third thing I want to talk about is the water situation in our state. During the rainy season, I don't know about you. Do you live in Enugu?
Yeah, I come back.
You do live in Enugu. So you're probably familiar with what I'm saying. But where I live, in what is supposed to be one of the best parts of town, I have to pay to get water. I have to pay during the rainy season about 25,000 naira per tanker of water. In this dry season, it's going up to about 30,000 to 35,000 because the water bodies have shrunk further, because of the cost of diesel. Now think about, this is me, and I'm sweating about it. And I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be nice here. I'm sweating because you need about 2 to 3 tankers a month. Now think about the ordinary people who have to buy in gallons and jerry cans. Think about the health impact. Think about the economic impact. So water is priority for me. The fourth thing that is of top priority is our economy, the state of our economy, right, today. Today, Enugu State is the 20th most indebted state in Nigeria. Enugu State is indebted to the tune of about 70 billion naira domestic debt. Enugu State is indebted to the tune of $125 million US. And let me tell you what else. This domestic debt jumped 82% over the last 5 years. And when you look at these borrowings, the next thing then is, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with borrowing money, but what you do with the money is even more critical. And so look at the state of our infrastructure, look at the state of our water sector, look at the state of our health sector, look at our security sector, look at the housing sector, and tell me that indeed these borrowings have been justified. So I will pay attention to the matter of economic transformation. I'm going to pay great attention to issues of technology. I'm going to pay attention to issues of environmental sustainability. And under this environmental sustainability, it is about availability of water. It is about sanitation. Look at the state of Enugu.
So, about the water situation, what exactly is your strategy for addressing it? Because you seem to understand what the problem is. So, where does your strategy come in?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Excellent question, Chika. My primary strategy is to unbundle the water sector. What do I mean by this? Currently, you have the Water Corporation. And I want to say categorically that it is a cesspit of corruption. You probably have some of the most incompetent human beings that were created by God in that corporation today. Now, for your information, if you take the entire water infrastructure in Enugu as a whole, right? Today, the output from the entire water infrastructure in Enugu is not more than 12%. Are you hearing me? The entire water infrastructure, take it as 100%. The output from that entire infrastructure is not more than 12%. And this is based on an audit that was conducted by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources in 2020. What means is that you have the water infrastructure, you have water, but water is not flowing in the city. As I'm talking to you now, go to Oji Water Works tomorrow morning. You're going to find that about 50,000 cubic meters of water is wasting every day. Why? Because of the cannibalization of the water pumps there. If you enter the engine room of Oji Water Works, you get on a tinker in coal camp. You will believe you're in tinker. Out of 4 water pumps that were installed in 2005, only 1 is working. What it then means is that the water being harvested, freely given to us by God from the ground, is wasting now. Yes, the pumps bring it, but it is wasting because it cannot be pumped into the city. Now, when I say I'm going to unbundle it, I will tell you how. I'm going to break the water value chain into 3. We will have an independent companies whose duty it will be to harness water. Their job, the only job they have is to take this water out of the ground. Wherever you want to get the electricity to bring the water out is entirely your business. But the contract that we're going to have with you is bring the water out of the ground. Nothing more, nothing less. That is number 1. The second thing that they must, the next group of people must do, another company independently must do, is to transport the water using the main trunk lines. You have major trunk lines that bring water from Oji and Ajali to what you call reservoirs. These reservoirs are the foot of Milking Hill. You have them in Ibagwa, you have them in Tinka, you have some of them in Idor River area. So they take the trunk, the water in the trunks, and they move the water into the reservoirs. That will be the job of an independent company, independent of the first one. The third, but not the least, is another company whose duty it is to do what? To distribute. You take the water from the reservoirs and now distribute to the various parts of Enugu. And it is your responsibility to meter the various homes and make sure that water is supplied and that water is paid for.
Okay.
So once this is done, As a leader, what you do is to ensure through an independent regulatory agency, which is what the Water Corporation will become, to ensure that these independent companies are fulfilling their obligations to government and to the people of Enugu. Once we do this, corruption Ghana,
Okay.
it will go.
So at this point, I also want to ask that if you have questions in the hall, please raise your hand and we will bring a mic to you immediately. We will start with a lady this time around. Is there a lady? There's a lady here, please. We started with men twice before, so let's start with a lady now. Please bring the mic. There's a lady here putting on a black gown. Let's begin with her. Don't forget to give us your name. Please tell us your name and be very brief about your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Joylo Nenya. Now, my question is, as a young person, trust me, there is no employment in Enugu. Once I'm done with school, I'm leaving Enugu. So what's the plan to provide employment for young people in Enugu? Thank you.
All right, so let's begin with that. What is your plan for providing employment in the States?
What did you say your name is, ma'am? Nenya? Very well. So please don't leave Enugu. Please, we want you here. And I say this very seriously. But I do understand that man by nature will toe the path of least resistance. That is a natural disposition of every man. Everyone wants to make progress. You want to have a good life. You want to have a purposeful life. You want to achieve your potential. And so we cannot in good conscience say do not leave if the living conditions are inadequate, if there is insecurity, if there's no water, if the infrastructure is not there, if there are no jobs. Now, but why are there no jobs in Enugu? Why is it that in the last 7 years, there's been no investments, there's been no fresh investments in Enugu? I will explain to you. It is for the same reasons why you're having a difficult life. It's because of the insecurity. It's because of the poor infrastructure. It is because of the malfeasance, the poor policy environment. It is almost like a deliberate and conscious effort by government to make sure that businesses do not come to Enugu. And who does a thing like that? Money will only go to where it is needed, where it is safe, where it is protected, where it is going to receive, where it is going to get returns. Today, people are asked for bribes in order for them to bring businesses to Enugu. Muabu Frank Nweke, as your governor, no such thing will ever happen. My background as former Director General of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group forbids it. We understand the set of the set of policies, the features of any environment that wants to attract business. And what are these? I will explain to you. Once the businesses are assured that their investments will be protected, they will come to Enugu. Once businesses are assured that they do not have to offer bribes to anyone, they will come. Once businesses are aware that there will be no multiple taxation, they will come.
Okay.
Once businesses know that government will be consistent with its policies, they will come.
You have another question here.
We will provide these circumstances for businesses to come, and it is those businesses that will create the jobs to keep people like you in Enugu.
So you have
and
a question
this is my
here.
assurance to the people of Enugu.
This says, what are your plans on environment and waste management?
Say that again.
What are your plans for environment and waste management?
Okay. Well, thank you again for excellent question, whosoever asked it. It is unfortunate the situation in which we have found ourselves. From a state which was probably next to Calabar in terms of cleanliness, in terms of sanitation, look at where we have found ourselves today as probably one of the filthiest states in Nigeria. A state that was named one of the 100 resilient cities in the world just a few short 7 years ago. That characterization has been lost completely. Because all the circumstances that enabled us to be so nominated, enabled the state to be so nominated, have disappeared. And so, for environment specifically, I'm going to start with, first of all, appointing credible, knowledgeable, and capacitated leadership for SWAMA, the State Waste Management Agency. In this state, we had street sweepers, mechanized street sweepers. We had a very well articulated waste management system. We had a waste transfer system. The government was already contemplating a sorting system through which there will now be recycling. All of these opportunities have been lost. So my agenda for development, my manifesto, is very clear on the various steps that will be taken to restore these services in place. That's number one. Number two is the matter of environmental sustainability. I don't know how many of you really have taken note of how hot Enugu is becoming over the last couple of years. Not many people are paying attention. When you talk about climate change, there is the tendency to believe that it is those white people, leave them, they are the ones doing it. Yes, they may be doing what they are doing, but we're also doing what we're doing. I want you to look as you're driving through various local governments. You're going to find piles of trees felled and being sold as firewood. There is significant deforestation that is taking place in Enugu State. All of these things are affecting the environment. All of these things are going to really affect the quality of life. All of these things we must check. And I believe that the people who are doing these things are doing it because they do not know better. And so under my government, the issue of environmental sustainability in every sense of the word will be taken very, very seriously.
All right, let's take another question in the audience. Please, there's another gentleman there. Please, let's pass the microphone to him.
Good evening. My name is Dele Maxwell Ugwai. I understand what you are saying, but I have one problem. Your policies seem to be urban-centered. When you talk of water, Enugu, 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 does it mean people in Nsukka, Agbani, Oji River do not need to have access to potable water?
Okay.
We have to look at that.
All right, thank you.
The essence of what I'm saying that by the time you want to develop Enugu town, you pile pressure on Enugu, just as you want to leave Enugu to Lagos. Other people will be leaving the rural areas to Enugu too.
All right,
we have to make rural areas livable too.
Let's keep our questions very brief. All right,
Thank
let's
you.
answer that first.
Thank you. Excellent. That's a very excellent question. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I'm going to digress a bit. Apart from the fact that, I don't know if you know about the Adada water scheme. That water scheme, you know that Adada River was dammed specifically for the purposes of providing water to Nsukka and the environment. So why is it that since that project was completed, the damming was completed almost 3-4 years ago, the state government has not fulfilled its own part of the deal? Its own part of the deal was to take the water from the dam when it's been completed and create the trunk lines and reticulation infrastructure for the city of Nsukka and the environs. I am aware of this. Now, I believe, in fact, based on what you've just said, I'm going to endeavor to really be more expansive in my explanations. So it's not as though the rural areas one is forgetting. Let me also use this opportunity to say that there are significant opportunities to actually expand the water infrastructure in Enugu. There's a place called the Iyokwe River, right? There's another water body called Orobo River. These are major water bodies that have the potential to actually add almost 60,000 cubic meters of water supply to the city of Enugu. But all of these have been ignored. In fact, understandably, even the existing ones, the government and the ruling party have showed a remarkable inability, remarkable incompetence in even just using the existing water infrastructure. But I make that reference to tell you that one is fully aware of those opportunities, and all of those opportunities will be exploited. Now to something else that is critical, talking about rural development. You have a phone with you? Please Google very quickly the role and the mandate of local governments in the Nigerian Constitution. Not many of you realize the critical importance of local governments in a democracy, in any nation. they have such great responsibility. They are the ones closest to the people. It is their responsibility to build roads. Waste management is their responsibility. Management of markets is their responsibility. Management of parks is their responsibility. Sanitation is their responsibility. And I can go on and on. Check your phones and see. My approach will be to make sure that we have only the most credible, competent people in our local government system. Nobody under my government will bring bags of money to me in government house. No. The monies are meant for local governments, are meant for the development of the rural areas, are meant for the benefit of our people in those communities. I will ensure as governor that monies meant for local governments are applied for local governments. No more, no less.
So if we do have any other questions in the hall, please let's take them. But there's also another one here that is asking about your plans for improving revenue that's been collected here in the States.
No, say that again.
What's your plan for improving the internally generated revenue of Enugu State?
Very well. Okay, thank you. So you want to ask yourself, what are the components of revenue generation? I'm also interested in even the use of the existing revenue that is collected in this state today. And what are these? You have the well-known monthly allocations from Abuja. It's there. You also have, and I can tell you that in the last 6 years of the current administration, I think the total FAC allocations has come to about 60 billion or thereabout. And in terms of internally generated revenue over the last 5 or 6 years, at least up to 2021, has been about 320 billion naira. Now, the question is, what have we done with these monies? Okay? I believe that if it is possible for you to really be accountable and for people to see what you're doing with revenues, then it will create great opportunity for you to expand the generation of that revenue, right? If you look at what's been happening with, say, with the waste sector, the fact that services are not being rendered completely undermines your ability to ask people to pay for revenue for refuse management, okay? You also look at our tax base, for instance. Our tax base is so narrow, is so very narrow. But a more important problem is the following. You find that markets and parks are located to individuals. Did you hear me? Markets and parks are located for individuals. So the bulk of the monies paid by our people are diverted into private pockets. And then even when the monies have come to the central collection point, the management of that revenue is also compromised significantly. What I'd like to say to the people of Enugu is the following, that I will bring the greatest discipline to the management of every resource. Tax collection will be completely digitized. So we need to try and eliminate the opportunity for people to collect monies by hand from anybody at any time. That is one way to begin to deal with these issues of revenue management. And let me tell you something else. The issue of cost efficiencies is critical. The fact that contracts are regularly inflated, we know these things. These things are there. When you look at some project and you ask and you see the quality of this project, you calculate the value creation and all of that, you find that this is a complete scam. So we are going to eliminate all of these wastes. We're going to eliminate this corruption. Now, the last but not the least is, I'll share something that will shock you. And in order to do this, I'll need to get some documents I prepared for this debate or for this town hall meeting. And that is the issue of revenue allocation. And just permit me to share something with this audience. And that is, permit me to share something here. Now, in order for you to fully understand when I talk about revenue management, revenue allocation, just so that you understand and get some perspective on it. In the 2022 budget, I have identified certain critical subheads or sectors, and I'd like to share with you what the revenue allocation to those sectors are. Let us look at water. In the 2022 budget, the sum of 10.3 billion naira is what was budgeted for the water sector. Education, the sum of 14.47 was budgeted for the education sector. Youth and sports, 4.2 billion naira. For science and technology, approximately 600 million naira was allocated. But hold on, for the governor's office, 17.7 billion naira was allocated to the governor's office. So is it any surprise why our state is where it is? Is it any surprise why we don't have water? Is it of any surprise why the technology sector is so underdeveloped? Why our people are not getting the support they require? And I can share with you, through the years, the various allocations on this question.
So the question then becomes, with all of these numbers, right?
Yes.
With all of these numbers, what does your presence in governance mean for helping these people make sense of what you've just read out?
Very good. So my presence in government, you can see that for me, I spend my waking hours contemplating these issues. These are the data that are available out there. You get on budget, you find it. You go to the National Bureau of Statistics, you find these things. Any person who aspires to be your governor, who is not at home with these figures, who is not at home with the fiscal condition of our state, the fiscal condition of our nation, the fiscal conditions of the world, has no business trying to be your governor.
Okay.
Because it is going to be a very, very challenging time. Now, what you can see from what I've just shared with you is the fact that the ruling party is not concerned about the people. That is what this data just shows you. My government will be about the people. My government will be about the youth. My government will be about our mothers and our women. My government will be about the rural communities. My government will be about the citizens of our state, not about me, not about bureaucracy, not about my cronies, not about my friends, not about my associates, but about the people of Enugu State. That is what my government will be. That's the difference I'm bringing to the table.
And I think this is a great place to end the conversation now. Remember, we're broadcasting live on television, so our time is really limited. But I want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening. Mr. Frank Nnemekanweke Jr. is the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA. In just a moment, we'll be joined on stage by the candidates of the other parties here present for a final thank you. So stay with us. This is not done yet. You're watching the candidates reaching you live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Good evening. Namdi? And please have your seats. We're still live on broadcast, so please have your seats. Arise Television and Afia Television, and also to our radio broadcast partners, Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, Urban 94.5 FM Enugu, and Energy FM here in Enugu as well. To Cabal Entertainment for helping us with the production, thank you very much. My name is Chika Agu. Have a good night.